Our next up is a keynote conversation on wildlife protection solutions with Sue Thompson and Dave Weidner. Sue has extensive experience with both for-profit and nonprofit organizations. She is currently on the board of Four Winds Interactive and the Boulder Kathmandu Sister City project. Dave's legacy has been in the software industry, where he founded 2 successful software companies. He's also a principal of 2 real estate investment companies. He combines his enterprising nature, high-tech background, and love of animals to provide technology solutions to wildlife conservation. Let's welcome Sue and Dave. Thank you.
Well, so Sue and I are with Wildlife Protection Solutions. What we do is we bring technology to protecting ecosystems and endangered species. And I'd show you an example. What you see in the video is a rare Sumatran rhino. It is captured deep in the jungles of Sumatra. I originally was going to say that was a video of me, but Sue said the Sumatran rhino is really cute. So we don't want you saying that. So I guess that didn't work.
That's a baby rhino, by the way. Baby Sumatran. Very rare to see.
So what we'll be talking about today, I want to talk a little bit about terrestrial protected areas, i.e. parks, nature reserves, et cetera, and what their status is. Then an overview of the endangered species that are within that protected area. And lastly, how we think technology can help guard and protect those areas. So one thing, about 15% of the world's land mass is a protected area. Some people look at that and they say that's not very much. The situation is even worse with oceans. It's about 4% of the oceans are protected areas. So in some ways, we're lucky we're working with 15% of the world's land mass, terrestrial mass. That is over twice the size of Canada, so there is a lot of area to protect there. And I think there are some obvious benefits from having a landmass that size, especially in terms of absorption of the CO2 from natural rainforests and parks, et cetera. Can't even read my own PowerPoint. Oh yeah, I think something often overlooked is that the animals are the gardeners, essentially, and the road construction engineers of these ecosystems. So animals do things like spread their feces, which have the native seeds. That is a reproductive factor where then plants grow, keep the jungles and the rainforests healthy. And they're also construction engineers, especially if you've got things like rhinos and elephants in an area. They're making pathways for other species to make it through the area. And they do it all without concrete and asphalt and some of the things that we use. Let's see, some of the problems. Paper parks are maybe the best term for the problems. What we mean by paper parks is sometimes you get a park in name only, but it's not adequately defended. And so that is, I think, one of the major problems. And you see this lack of defense in the fact that people are planting crops in a protected area and things like that that show that it's really not adequately defended. So another thing that causes a problem is corruption. We experience this a lot in South Africa where we work. You think people are guarding or guiding tourists through an area. They often turn out to actually be helping the poachers. So that's another way I think technology can help, is to be an independent eye. Sometimes you have to keep an eye on your staff as well as an eye on the surrounding environment. And of course, the fact that people come in and they poach both the flora and the fauna within an area.
So before we get into exactly how we use our technology, we do know that many species are getting near extinction. And what you see here is one of our applications, which is showing all of the mammal mammal species that are endangered. And this is around the world, and it's just that it's in number remaining. So just a sample of the first page, you're seeing like 6 samples. But probably what most people don't know is that there are over 60 mammal species with 1,000 or fewer individuals remaining. And there's over 100 mammal species with 5,000 or fewer individuals remaining. That to me is kind of a shocking number. These are just examples of some of those species that are remaining. The Hainan black-crested gibbon is pretty cute. There's only roughly 20 of them left. The Sumatran rhino that we've already talked about, roughly 100 left in Sumatra. The proboscis monkey, I think he's adorable in his kind of funky nose. And you know, there's up to, say, 2,000 remaining. And there's many, many of these mammals that we want to be addressing and can with our technology. But yes, there's a lot of species going extinct, but there are success stories that I want to uplift some of us that are dealing in this, because the white rhino in Africa is a success story. In the late 1800s, these were considered near extinct. There were 20 left in a park that was called Umfolozi. And today, there are about 20,000 left. That number should still be much higher, but still, it went from 20 to 20,000 because of park creations that were made for, you know, to protect rhinos. And because we did some translocation efforts, not we, but primarily a person called Ian Player, who we were fortunate enough to interview and meet with and talk with several times before he passed on. But currently, the rhino is being poached at a pretty high rate of around 1,000 per year. This is the white rhino in South Africa.
So I'm going to explain in a little bit more detail how technology can help. I'll start with our mission. One of our main missions is to educate. Probably some of the facts we just went over, many of you may not have been aware of. So that's kind of the first thing that we want to do, is make as many people aware as possible of the criticality of the endangered species situation for both plants and for insects and for mammals. Then once we educate ourselves on an area and what a situation is, we like to use sensors and camera systems to protect those endangered species. While we're doing that, it's pretty easy to get census information. If you're putting cameras in Indonesia, for example, and you're trying to get census information on the Sumatran rhino that Sue discussed, at the same time you can get census information on the tigers that are there and the tapirs that are there and all of the other 95 species of mammals that are in Indonesia. At the same time, you can also find new species. Since the year 2000, believe it or not, 412 new mammal species have been discovered. So we still have a lot to learn about the species. There's approximately 5,500 mammal species and probably many more to go to find. You heard a little bit about that from Sally yesterday when she was talking about the golden frog and how it was discovered and then went extinct, all in a matter of just a few years. So we work in a number of different areas. We don't have time to talk about all of them, but we're going to concentrate on 2 that we discussed a little bit: the sensor-based software system and some of the apps that we produce for education. So the apps enable us and other groups that we work with to focus on where the true criticality is with the endangered species. Similar to what Sue showed you, we can rank order by criticality or rank order by the number remaining each of the species, both overall, so you can get a picture of the world, and again, this is done in an app. And you can also amalgamate the species by region to try to get a feeling for which region is the most critical. So this is an example of an app for Indonesia. Indonesia is truly in critical state with its mammals. This is categorizing 95 different mammal species. If you notice, 17 of them are critically endangered, I think, which is in the icon with the Sumatran rhino. The proboscis monkey, which Sue showed you, that icon shows there's 28 endangered species. Add them all up, and there are 87 of the 95 mammal species in Indonesia, and these are the primary species, excluding a few rats and things like that. But most of them are in some state of being threatened. So it was one of our selection criteria for why we work in Indonesia. I've just been given a time warning. So I'm going to quickly go through an overview of what we do with the field sensors. This is a really high-level overview. Notice that there is a camera strapped to a tree. It uses telecommunication to get the images down to a mobile device. And that way, a ranger can see what's going on its ground. On the ground, WPS has interrupted 25 poaching incidents in the last 18 months. And we're also currently taking a census of Sumatran mammals, and we found about 10 rhinos so far in Sumatra. Just real quickly, these are the types of things we're putting sensors on: fences, cameras, jeeps, rhinos. We use telephony communications and amplified Wi-Fi to send that to a computer system that looks for people and animals. Then that goes down to mobile devices and to command and control centers so that the rangers can dispatch people to go arrest the poachers. Then it gets broadcast across the world. Same thing happens anywhere across the world. For us, that's in Colorado. And we've actually used this transmitted across the world methodology to catch poachers from Colorado that are actually poaching in South Africa. And we've interrupted a number of events using this technique. So the poaching examples really range from environmental logging. This is a logging poacher coming up a river in Kalimantan in Borneo. And this is a guy with a high-powered rifle coming through in Africa, going after a rhino to poach. So some of the lessons that we've learned from this is lots of things are being poached that we didn't know were being poached. The Newcomb snail, for example, is a Hawaiian snail. It's down to 6 individuals. There are snail poachers, believe it or not, and you have to protect the snails from the snail poachers. And you're also dealing with some pretty nasty individuals. There are syndicates that have poached up to 200 rhino. We caught 5 of their representatives on our land in South Africa, so you have to be very vigilant about some of these super mafia-like groups that are coming in to try and poach your rhinos.
So we're also using our technology, as Dave mentioned, to find animal populations and to find new species. This is Indonesia, specifically Sumatra, where we are currently working. We've got right now about 30 cameras set up in the Lesur Park. And we've got 30 more cameras that are going into Lesur very soon. So a total of 60 will be there. We're trying to find exactly what is the rhino count, the Sumatran rhino count up there. And of course, we're seeing the rhinos, which you saw one picture of already, but we're also seeing other endangered species. So this is thought to be what's left there, roughly 90 to 100 individuals in Sumatra. But even within the individual parks, which you can see, there's Lesur is one park with approximately 50, Bukit Barisan 15, Wakambas 25. But even within those parks, the rhinos are not staying together. They're being in isolated pockets. So we're doing this census with our partner on the ground. And after we finish the census, we're going to have to determine what do we do. Do we translocate the rhinos? Do we go to captive breeding? How do we protect them? And of course, how do we restore their habitat, which has been destroyed because of logging? These are pictures, what we have captured out there in Sumatra. Very rare, again. This is a rhino that saw the camera and is going up to the camera to sniff it out. There's actually pretty nice video. I don't know. Yeah, he's great. I don't know. Yeah, we can't really hear the audio part of it.
If you could turn the audio
Yeah,
up,
could
it's
you
pretty
turn-
good audio with it.
Yeah, it's really fun to hear this. Good. So here it comes again. This is at night, so our cameras do work day and night. You'll never hear a rhino until now. I mean, this is probably the one and only time you'll hear a rhino. Anyway, here's another picture of a rhino that's wallowing in the mud that we caught. They love to do this, and the reason that they do it is because, number one, it keeps them cool. Number two, it takes off all the ticks and the bugs that are on them, so it helps to bathe them. This is a daytime shot of the sun bear. We don't really know how many are left of this particular species, but they are vulnerable, and they've got that distinctive crescent-shaped colored pattern on them. This is a film of 2 Sumatran rhinos, tigers, and it's about 500 left of the Sumatran tigers. That was the mother. The cub is coming up right shortly here, running after. There's the cub. Very rare to see the Sumatran tigers. This is one of my favorites, the peafowl mating ritual. Here's the male trying to attract the female. And, well, she's not looking that interested, but he's trying. I love this one. Let's do it again. We'll just see. He's like, come on, come on, come on. Nah, I don't know. Come on, wait. Ah, you know. Try that. No thanks.
I can tell you it's totally ineffective. I've tried it myself.
So we're out of time. We do have a table outside here. Come see a little bit what we're doing. We also have a virtual reality demonstration. If you've never seen, if you've never been to Africa, now you have a chance because virtual reality headsets, and you'll see a buffalo and a rhino and giraffes all up close. So it's really fun. But we have our headquarters in Denver. So come by, see us more there. You'll see much more of what we can do. And we have a camp in South Africa. People are coming to visit us there where we own 14 rhinos, and we use our technology against our own property there and how to protect our rhinos. And many other game reserves in the area are also using our system. And we have a camp that we built in Sumatra as well. So come see us for questions or come on a trip with us. All right, thanks everybody.